Good afternoon, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. I want to talk about why the things we talk about, why modern monetary theory and real progressives should matter to you. So, for as long as most of us have been alive, our government, our news agencies, our academic institutions have all talked to us about how scary the debt is. They've all talked to us and told us how the government is broke and how it can't do great things. We've heard Obama talking about having to eat our peas. We've heard Hillary Clinton talking about having to make tough choices. We've heard Bush talking about compassionate conservatism. We've heard about trickle-down economics. We've heard all these different things, but we really have never been able to place them to understand why they matter. You know, we've created a lot of situations based on faulty knowledge that have kept us paralyzed, not only as a movement, forget a movement, this movement is relatively young, but as a people. And it's not just in the United States, quite frankly, it's around the world. So when you're concerned about why things are going poorly, why we don't have nice things, it really gets down to the nitty-gritty of the why behind it all. It's real convenient for people that want to get clicks and likes to create a boogeyman. It's a boogeyman that we can all beat up and bash, and it always gives us an opportunity to be completely and utterly powerless to defeat it. By creating this boogeyman structure, we're always paralyzed and we're always the victim, and we can never escape and we can never win. And it's our way of making ourselves feel better. It's like a child's story that we tell. But modern monetary theory is brutally efficient in telling the truth. It's brutally efficient because it cuts through every myth and legend the Republicans tell, and it cuts through every myth and legend the Democrats tell, and it cuts through all the myths and legends that we have been led to believe. It eliminates the idea that our federal government has to operate like a household budget. Eliminates the idea that employment can't be full. It eliminates the idea that we have to have a certain amount unemployed to keep inflation away. It eliminates all the misunderstandings about trade and the lack of trade and imports versus exports. It eliminates every single myth and legend about the Federal Reserve. It eliminates every single myth and legend about how banks work and how money is created. Why does this matter? There are people today, no joke, who believe that the United States doesn't have money, it has to get it from a foreign power. There are people to this day who believe that we have to borrow our own readily created currency from places like China, or worse, the IMF. There are people that really believe that the United States is pegged to the oil standard, or to the gold standard, or to some other thing. There are people that believe that our national debt is going to be passed on to our children. There are people that believe that we have to reduce the deficit, not knowing any better. There are people that don't understand how we can spend so much on the war machine, yet pay our teachers a starvation wage. They don't understand how we can have very, very wealthy people and very, very poor people in the quote-unquote richest nation in the country, in the world, right? So there's all these things that we say a lot. We hear them a lot. And we feel powerless as we say them. And the people that are really pissed off, that really want to see this thing change, have come up with different ways. They want to burn the system down. They want to, blow up this, blow up that, but because they don't understand. But they're angry and they're on to something. They're on to something. They're just not on to the right something. So how do we as real progressives play into this picture? Real progressives wants a New Deal. That is everything that Bernie Sanders fought for. That is everything that Jill Stein fought for. That's everything that we have been fighting for a long time. And Real Progressives is taking modern monetary theory and showing you how we can fix the environment. We're here to show you how we can fix healthcare. We're here to show you how we can go ahead and get free college and end student debt. We're here to do all these things that you say you want. But the problem is that none of our alternative media will tell the truth about it either. The alternative media that you're turning to replace the mainstream media, because the mainstream media lies. But then again, our alternative media has gone full 360 and has decided to tell stories of their own. Where are you going to get the truth about economics? And there's a lot of people out there. I want to be real clear. There are a lot of individuals out there at different stratums in terms of where they fit in the hierarchy of things. There are academics out there doing incredible work. Unfortunately, their work is not typically accessible to Jane and Joe public. So Real Progressives tries to boil that down for regular people, us, you and I, so that we aren't lied to anymore, so we can see through the lies that we're told. We're not here to create something new. We're here to take the work of these academics. We're here to take their work and synthesize it down so that you and I can feel confident asking for more than we're getting today. So we can pass on to our children prosperity, not these lies that keep them dying artificially. There is so much poverty in the United States. There's so much poverty in the world. All of it is a political choice. Every single ounce of poverty in the world is a political choice. None of it need be there. We want to help eradicate that. And the only way we can do that is to each one teach one. Many of the people that follow Real Progressives have never been to college before. In fact, many of our volunteers have never been to college before. Many of them have only heard what they've heard at the fire pit or at the bar stool, talking to friends, reading bad blog posts. We're here to help facilitate a transfer of real knowledge to the people. When the people have the strength and they have the understanding and the conviction and the knowledge of how the system actually works, the people can make different decisions and they can fight a different war. Imagine how many of us at one time in our lives fought vehemently to reduce the deficit. Imagine how many of us at one point in our lives were terrified of the national debt. Remember how many of us watched people lose their jobs and their livelihood and their homes during the global financial crisis. Think about how many people committed suicide because of financial woes. Think about how many families broke up as a direct result of financial distress in the home. Think about how many kids are leaving high school only to go into college before they've ever had their first job and are carrying tens of thousands of dollars of debt before they even graduate. Imagine all the people that were displaced during the global financial crisis that had to go back to school as older students and are now carrying incredible debt loads into their senior years. Imagine the people whose houses were upside down. They owed far more than they were worth because of predatory lending. Imagine all the pain and suffering of the drug war that continues. And people are excommunicated from the vibrant economy, the legal economy, because they have no other alternatives. Imagine the people in Flint, Michigan, finding out that there's power, that they could fix their water now. Imagine Puerto Rico being fixed now. Imagine us not going to war for oil because we invested in green energy. This is what we're fighting for. I would imagine every one of you all would support that. And we are looking to end destitution. How many people are stuck in domestic violence situations because they've never had a job or they haven't worked in 20 years, and so they stay stuck in a very, very bad relationship? We're here to advance a federal job guarantee that helps all people, that eradicates generational poverty and gives people real, genuine hope and mobility. We're here to clear the damage from the Rust Belt. We're here to clear the damage of fracking. And we're here to clear the damage done by neoliberalism. If you ever wanted to know how the system really works, not how somebody told you at the fire pit, but really know how it works, the insights of modern monetary theory, led by the likes of Stephanie Kelton, Randall Wray, Bill Mitchell, Warren Mosler, and some of the next generation like Fidel Kaboub, Stephen Hale, Rohan Gray, Pavlina Cherneva. There's so many people. Matt Forstater. We have an incredible amount of academics out there who understand at a very, very deep level how the system works, how the balance sheets flow, how money is created. And instead of telling these stories, we can speak with pure confidence. And when we put our fist in the air in a revolutionary voice, we mean it because we have knowledge, and knowledge is the weapon of our warfare. Knowledge is what will take us to a new deal. Knowledge is what will create a more equal society. And instead of thinking, is it socialism? Is it democratic socialism? Is it capitalism? Let's think about something new altogether. Why don't we strive to understand how the system works and leverage real knowledge, not anti-knowledge, but real knowledge to create something we never even dreamed possible? What about investing in STEM? What about investing in scientific research? What about repurposing the military? What about expanding Social Security? What about providing for the disabled? What about creating centers all over for children with autism? What about investing heavily in research? Folks, we can do so much that we're not even dreaming of. We're afraid to dream. We've turned the light off, and all we do is see doom and gloom. If you read Chris Hedges, and you can do it without a razor blade in your hand, good for you. Chris Hedges, as much as I love his writing, never leaves a trail of how to get out of the hell that we're in. Real progressives provide solutions. We provide an understanding of what the federal government is capable of doing versus what the state governments are capable of doing versus what the local and municipal governments are capable of doing. We provide you a roadmap between the differences of someone like the United States and the EU, where they're on the euro and they've lost their monetary sovereignty. All the euro states are literally like the United States. Each of these states is a non-currency issuing nation, and they are now subject to the Troika and to the European Central Bank, the ECB. They have given up what the United States still has, which is monetary sovereignty. It's very important that we look at folks like Japan, who has shown us a roadmap. They have 250% debt to GDP, and they have one of the more equal societies in all of the world. You look at Australia, they've got a national health service. You look at the UK, they have a national health service. We could have that too if we dreamed a bigger dream. And the only way you can dream a bigger dream is to really truly know the as-is model, so you can leverage it to precision. Because what is happening is the people that we're fighting against are organized, they're in the know, they created the system, they know how the system works, and they are using it for them to get rich while we stay poor. Since the early 80s and even in the late 70s, wealth inequality has gone like this. And it's almost vertical how bad the inequality is in America. And it's only getting worse. In order to defeat that, we've got to understand it. And that means we've got to push away from the people that don't understand but tell us loud and proud stories. We need to rope them in and teach them so that they can take that strength of activism and put it toward truth, not just a tale from the fire pit. We need to be a rogue strain of truth going into the Green Party and overthrowing the old guard who is sitting there pushing myths and legends. We need to infect the Democratic Party. We need to infect the Republican Party. And we need to infect the Libertarian Party. We need to infect humanity with truth. Everywhere people are, all people need to be hearing the truth. Because the truth is not political at all. It's science. It's the science of currency analysis. When you understand that we're just describing how a sovereign, free-floating, non-convertible fiat currency works. And we're describing the differences between operational reality and political gamesmanship. When you understand the difference, you can call bullshit. When you listen to candidates speak, wouldn't it be better to support candidates that actually understand how the system works versus candidates who are going to keep doing the same stuff over and over again? Don't you want a candidate that actually understands how Social Security works versus peddling the myths and legends about it being bankrupt? Don't you want candidates that understand? The only way you're going to get it is if we take over and we get to a critical mass, we get to a tipping point of people that understand how the system works and forcibly demand better. How will we do that, might you ask? We need to go to our local media. We need to go to these alternative media that refuse to talk about it and demand they do talk about it. We need to go to our politicians and demand they address it. We need to go to every town hall available to us with signs. We need to go to every march where there's other activists who are being misled by their partisan allegiances. And we need to share with them information. We need to bond with them. We need to find ways to infect them with truth. Because as we all well know, a lie travels faster than the truth ever will. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. One of the things that I've come to believe, I will never ever lead the life that I could lead without us advancing this truth. My kids will never inherit a country that I believe they deserve without advancing this truth. Now, for some of you, you may ask, well, why does this guy do this 7 days a week? And I'll tell you why. During the global financial crisis, I lost a 17-year career. That 17-year career, I spent an incredible amount of time not only improving my lot in life by going to school and learning things about the company and moving up the ladder, but I also invested. I had savings, and it was all gone when that crisis hit. My house went upside down. I lost my job. And here we are again in 2018, 9 years later. And I'm sitting here without a job one more time. All of this is preventable. All of it is preventable. The question is, will you all help me? Will you help Real Progressives? Will you help yourselves and your family advance this truth? Stop getting spun up with the conspiracies and focus on actionable truth here today, things that you can take direct action on. Talk to candidates. Get in their office and sit down and present this to them. Talk to your local media. Talk to these alternative media. Talk to anyone that will listen, your family, your school board. Go to Walmart and talk to people. Hand out pamphlets. Do whatever you got to do. It's that important. It solves the environment. Once people understand that there's no more excuses, They have to do better, or they face revolt. But right now, what happens if we had a constitutional convention? Right now, today, with the way knowledge is, what happens if the Koch brothers win and the people, the well-meaning people on the left who think we should have a constitutional convention, push for amendments, and all of a sudden they get to the floor and they pass a balanced budget amendment that destroys our monetary sovereignty, that destroys the policy space to enact these grand policies? What happens then? Folks, not only is the environmental clock ticking, but so is the clock ticking on the people that are pushing for a constitutional convention so that we get stuck with a balanced budget amendment. If you allow that to happen, you need to look your children in the eye and tell them straight up what has happened. And you need to let them know flat out that you didn't fight for it. Be honest with them, because this is an important fight. I don't want to be ashamed to look my kids in the eye and say that I didn't fight for it. That's the one debt. The environment. Purgatory through austerity. Those are debts that you pass on to your kids. Let's make sure that we are the solution. Please do me a favor. If you have any interest whatsoever in volunteering for Real Progressives, if you've got administrative skills, if you've got video editing skills, if you've got graphic skills, if you've got writing skills, if you've got management skills, if you've got project management skills, if you've got organizing skills, if you've got web development skills, we need you. We need every one of you. And if you don't have any of those skills and you simply want to help out, please consider being a monthly patron. Please consider donating. Just the software alone to communicate with all the people on our team and to get the things done that we need done so that we can get videos out there beyond just live streams. Actually produced videos, documentaries, things like that, to get to the regular public. We need money. Real Progressives is a Pennsylvania-based charity that is striving to get both 501c3 and 501c4 status with the IRS so that we can, in fact, really take on places like the Peterson Foundation, and that we can partner with academic universities and stuff so that we can get real programs put into place that we can help educate folks. And the sky is the limit. Our motives are pure. Our efforts are tireless, but our resources are thin. Please consider helping us. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, proud to be the founder and hoping that you'll join us. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.